Gimel Amrav. Perkei Eloch Aleph. Shosh Naras Lapora, an ox which gored a cow, Benimtzu Bar B'tzida, and you found the gored cow's fetus dead next to it. Okay, but the fetus was at term, and therefore it's entirely possible that it was born before the goring occurred. You just don't know, right? They don't know if the fetus was born. I think the proper word is foaled, but I'm not sure about that. Yolda was born before the goring, or subsequent to the goring. So Mishal Chati Nezek. So the owner of the ox pays the half damages on the cow, because it's a tam which gored, and since it's a suffix whether he's liable for the vlad, he's liable for the fetus or not, because if the fetus miscarried as a result of his ox goring, so then he's liable for it. If the fetus was already born and died out of fright or something like that, so then he's exempt upon it, right? So therefore, misafik, he pays half of what his obligation would be, which comes to some total over a quarter, revia lavlad, okay? V'chein para shenogcha. Now the opposite case. Let's say a cow gored as a shiur. A pregnant cow, or a cow which might have been pregnant at the time, gored an ox. And, cows do have horns, which is nowadays most of them don't, but in the old days they did, right? So a cow gored an ox, v'nimtza vlada b'tzida, and now you found the para, the cow has its calf standing next to it. In this case, the calf might be alive or dead. It's not material. You don't know if the calf was born prior to the goring, in which case it was not a participant in the goring, or was born subsequent to the goring, in which case it was a participant in the goring. So you pay half damages, up to half damages from the cow, urevia, and a half of a half because of your suffix mina vlad from the calf.
How could the newborn calf be a participant?
When it was still inside the mother. When the mother gored, it gored together with the calf. No decision to make, nor any any direct participation. More is going to discuss that.
In the first case, is there any concept of role here?
More is going to discuss that too. So it says, paras mapilos. Do all cows miscarry? Obviously not. Let's say that to go after the majority. Most cows are able to sustain a viable pregnancy, right? Or gestation. If this cow could not, so let's say that it follows the majority, and the majority of times it's going to miscarry. It's going to miscarry because of the goring, not because of any inherent problem in and of itself. There's also merit. This teaches us it must be shelo hilchu b'mam v'shelo hilchu b'midas hadin. They didn't go matters of court case and monetary law. B'mam mamon in dinimominus acharov. They didn't go for a majority. Ella, it should be the Escoria manuscript. Ella achar miut. They followed the minority as well. And therefore, since a minority of cases, it's possible that the miscarriage was spontaneous and natural, opposed to caused by the goring. So therefore, you cannot demand more than a quarter payment. You can't demand the full half payment. Okay, we don't follow the rove. So it's interesting. There's actually a machlokas here between the Bava and Yerushalmi, because the Bava Bava says that the Bava Bava says that there is no rove here, or that there's no rove because it's entirely possible that yes, the miscarriage happened as a result of the ox coming at the cow, but before you actually touched the cow. And at that point, the ox miscarried out of fright, and that miscarriage is a groma. It's only caused by the ox. It's not directly done by the ox. So in that case, the owner of the ox would be potter. So the Gemara then Bava Basra rejects this proof that ain't hochin momen acharov. Says even follow the rov. It could be that this is unnatural, but not in a way in which would cause the owner of the ox to be liable. But here the Gemara doesn't give that answer. And then the Gemara says also, very interesting thing, Rabbi Yosef says, "B'makam acher hocham midas adin acharov." Another place they followed midas adin, in my court cases and other choshim mishpat areas, they follow the majority. Ki'ada, where such a case, to follow like the following case. The Tanya just brought down the Bavli as well. Rabbi Yacha said, Gamala Ocher ben Akmal, and there's various interpretations of what Ocher means, but the simple pshat is that he's copulating. There's one camel copulating among other camels. So the Ocher means as the Pnei Moshe brings down, he's copulating backside to backside, and Ochor is the backside. So Ocher is one who's backing, one camel is backing in, so to speak, to another camel. So in any event, if then there's another camel found dead, the owner of this male camel, which is copulating, is liable. Because we know it must be this camel is the one who killed, because they get wild when they're copulating. So in any event, so the bottom line here is that it seems that we follow Rov in Mominus here, because we assume that it was this camel. And so the Ori Yosha wants to say that this argues in the Bavli as well, because the Bavli says that here the camel which is liable because of chazaka, not because of rov. Because we have a chazaka, an assumption that it's the animals who are in heat who are going to do the most damage. But it's interesting that the Yosha, I don't think is necessarily correct, because we could say that that's exactly what Yerushalmi means. Yerushalmi means there are certain robes which are robes based on logic as opposed to statistical robes. In other words, that most cows don't miscarry is unless there's a reason, is a statistical robe, but it's not necessarily always true. But there's a logical assumption that if you find camels walking steadily around, one of is in heat, that camel, psychologically is the murderer. We have such principle, chazaka ein adam poreh tov zmano. Person never pays back a loan early. And even though it's called chazaka, it's based on rov. The rov people procrastinate and only pay money when they absolutely have to. So it's possible that this is a certain type of psychological rov. There it's with a person, here it's with a camel, which also could be called a chazaka, so it's not necessarily machlokas between the Bavli and Yerushalmi. That's what I would say. In any event, I mentioned rov based on teva and then human nature or some other form of nature. Yes, I did mention it. So in any event, so it says more further. From Rabbi Yada said, Kini Masni. So now, Rabbi Yada is going to get in the Mishnah. It's going to part of Mishnah where the cow gored the ox. And we said it's a pregnant cow. So Rabbi Yada says our Mishnah, the similar things brought down the Bavli, our Mishnah is talking about where there are two owners. The cow is owned by one person, and the fetus is owned by another person. So you have a cow and fetus which gored together. The cow is owned by person number one, and fetus is owned by person number two. Somehow they managed to make a deal in which they split the ownership of this cow, manifest in who owns the cow and who owns the fetus. So in this case, you pay, this is way in our Mishnah, you pay half damages from the cow. And the owner of the fetus pays the owner of the cow a quarter. Okay? So so the Baal Parah has to pay. He's got to pay the full half damages to the ox which was gored by the cow. But the owner of the Vlodos pays a quarter to the Baal Parah because he might be his partner. So ultimately, the owner of the cow pays how much? It's a little bit confusing. The owner of the cow pays how much? No. The owner of the cow pays a quarter. And the owner of the fetus pays how much? Also a quarter. They both pay quarters. Just that the owner of the cow paid half up front, and then the owner of the fetus reimbursed him for half of his half. Okay?
Why isn't the owner of the fetus paying the Nisak.
Excellent question. It's so good that there's somebody who holds like you right away, right now in the Gemara. Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi says, Zeno se mechza, Zeno se mechza. They both give half. So meaning each one gives a quarter, in essence, right? So, Manafka B'nei says more, Manafka B'nei, what is the difference between these two opinions? Good question, right? What's the difference? The difference is as like this. Mesa Vlados, if the fetus dies, Mandamar, the Mandamar says, the Kolin Ephraim says a little bit different in the next line, he changed it a little bit. To Zeno se mechza, Zeno se mechza. Each guy pays a half to the bow, to the owner of the ox who was gored. So now who loses out? If the fetus died, who loses out? The owner of the ox, right? Because the owner of the ox is going to lose out because he's only going to get up to the value of the dead fetuses from one owner, right? What about, however, again, Manamar says, I'm sorry, that's good enough. Manamar Zeno se mechza, Ahen yoim noske, Vahen yoim niske. Each guy gives his part, and therefore the owner of the ox loses half. Manamar Rishai Chatzi Nezik min HaPorah, you said he pay half damages from the Porah. Ubal Vlodos, and the owner of the Vlodos of Ole, Lubal Porah, he gives the owner of the cow half compensatory reimbursement. So Ahen yoim niske. And in this case, the owner of the parah gives the full half, right, to the owner of the ox. The owner of the ox doesn't lose anything. Vahein Omar, the owner of the vlodo say, however, to the owner of the cow, Lo Dame Bois, is this not what you want? My dead fetus? He throws. Let me toss it to you. So in any event, so in this case, who loses? According to this understanding, who owns who's in this case? The owner of the cow. The owner of the cow doesn't get reimbursed for the half which it could be reimbursed. So the question is obviously how we regard the partnership, because of course the cow is the primary damager, right? So it could be the cow pays up front and then he gets reimbursement if he can from the Baal Vlodos. Or we can say that no, since the owner of the fetus was a partner of the owner of the cow, so therefore they're equally liable. And the Gilin Hashas, a very long Gilin Hashas, he harks back to the previous parak. We spoke about three partners who are partners in an investment, but they're not all partners equally, right? One has 50%, another has 30%, another has 20%, but we said any profit and any loss, they suffer jointly and equally, because we said even though the investment levels are different, nevertheless they're all the same vis-a-vis outlay and income. So here too we say the same thing in essence. We're saying that even though the Baal of Loda, according to opinion that they're both partners, even though Baal Vlodos is doing relatively little, but since he's a partner with the Baal Porah, so he accepted upon himself the liability in any potential goring, and vice versa, of course. Okay? And therefore it's not just a limited liability, but a full 50% liability, despite the fact that obviously the fetuses are a lesser part of the deal, but it's enough liability that he would be liable to a full 50%. Okay? Continuing on in the Sefer, my question
wasn't answered, was it?
Oh, what was your question?
Why doesn't the owner Baal HaVlodos pay the Baal Isaac?
No, because who's the primary? According to the first opinion, because who's the primary mazik?
The cow.
So he's responsible. The question is whether he can go to somebody else and get reimbursement, but it's his responsibility. The guy whose ox was damaged says, I don't see no fetuses. As far as I'm concerned, who did all the damage? Cow. You want to go to court with the guy who has the fetuses and prove that he was a participant? That's your business, not my business. Okay? So that's that perspective. Of course, the other perspective is the one you prefer, to say that they were both partners, and therefore he has to go to both of them. Okay, so to a cow gores an ox. As for Rabbi Yami, is it because it's a suffix, right? That therefore, since it's a suffix, so therefore each guy gives. Therefore, the Baal Vlodos, doesn't have to give, may not have to give. Ha'ilu vadai, but if it were, he was definitely involved. So zeno say mechza, zeno say mechza, then each guy would have to give a full half. In other words, each party to the damage have to give a full half. Would I say that? Kachani Yomer, do I say that? Ragla shel adam echad, kula shel adam echad. If one person owns a leg and the other person owns the entire thing, zeno say mechza, zeno say mechza, do they each pay equally? How do we have such a thing? Why should they each pay equally? Makes no sense, right? This is before I brought the marshal from the previous parak. Actually, the Vilna Shash brings it down to this point. Armalisa said, "B'muad he must nisa." This is where the Vilna Shash is. Armish is talking about an animal which is muad, and that's the difference basically between the muad and the tam. By a muad, they're both partners because they both have to undertake to watch it, right? So therefore, even though you're just a partner in the vlad, since your animal's a muad, so therefore you have to make sure to watch it, right? You're a partner. So therefore, when I say if it was a tam, one could make the argument that Baal Vlodos had no idea what was going on, and therefore it's not his responsibility. But if you bought the animal and is aware that it's a muad, so then he has to take care. If he doesn't care, he's equally liable to the other one. Okay, that's basically what it says here. And the Vilna Shash goes into great length, but he says basically, but again, going back to the previous pair, that they all expect to accept upon themselves equally and jointly and similarly. Says the Gemara. If a guy says, this is kind of out of left field, but all right, what's the difference? Ragla mechurlecha. If a guy sells somebody else the foot of an ox or a cow, so machar, take out the word, we'll add the word chatzi chetzia. He sold half of a half, because how many this becomes a shock to you? How many legs does a cow have? 4. Very good. So if you sell one leg, how much of a cow are you selling? Very good. Okay. So, Mr. Zuber, can you students answer that question? Okay, good. So in any event, Raglish Nia Machrolach, if I sell you the second leg, then Machar, I take out the word Chati because you put it back there, the Shaitar still makes the change. Machar, then you have sold the full half. Amrai Reish Lakish, Reish Lezer, Kol Eish Masak Levinu. Our entire discussion this morning is going like Levi, we don't paskin like him. It's interesting because the Bavli brings down that this whole Mishnah is like Sumchos. And we don't paskin like Sumchos. Because our Mishnah holds, what does our Mishnah hold like Sumchos?
Once you said Sumchos, it's like, oh my gosh, of course.
That will not suffice. That's not an acceptable answer for it. Even the Rosh Yeshiva tells would not have accepted that on their own.
5 seconds in a row. 5 seconds was long.
Yes.
That was life for 4 years.
Okay. I see he has pleasant memories of it.
Doesn't everyone want to tell us that?
Yes.
Pleasant memories? Like that, yes. Exactly like that.
Maman Hamuto B'Safik Choki. That was also part of the Bechina Telsa. So Maman.
They would never ask you what someone's never.
So Maman Hamuto B'Safik that you divide up. But we paskin what? What do Rabbanan hold?
Obviously, no.
Hamotz mechaber lava raya. We hold that if you want me to pay, you prove that my feet is damaged. Who says my feet is damaged? I'm not going to pay a quarter out of my own largesse. You prove that my feet is damaged. You can't prove it? Too bad. Let's go home. So it's interesting. The Baal Yerushalmi doesn't make the qualification. I don't know why, and I can't. I don't want to speculate why because I have no idea why. But the same like the Yerushalmi holds that our Mishnah stands, not just like Sumchus. Okay, so I don't know. All right. Let's answer the Mishnah further. Daf Chav Dalam Rav. Hakadosh Shechnis Kleiros and the series of Mishnah say basically the same thing. Hakadosh Shechnis Kleiros, a potter who brought his pots to Chotzer Baal Bais into the backyard of Baal Bas Shalom B'Rishus without getting permission. So the owner of the cow of the Baal Bais, of the owner of this yard, breaks them, potter. The owner of the yard is potter, right? They weren't supposed to be there. If his animal gets damaged in the course of breaking these pots, then the owner of the K'deres Chayiv shouldn't have put his pots there, right? If, however, he put them in with permission, the owner of the yard is liable in that case. What about if a third-party ox came and broke them? Not the ox of the Baal Bais, but an ox which belongs to some stranger comes into this Baal Bait's backyard, starts breaking the pots. Potter. In that case, the person whose ox came from elsewhere is potter. Similarly, however, actually not similarly, on the flip side, if since the ox shouldn't have been there either, so if the ox gets damaged as a result of these pots, and it's the third party's ox, so then the owner of the pots is potter.
The owner of the pots have shiur to put it into the
No, that would be a different ballgame. No, we have rishus here. Ha'adamra teaches us it says here that if the third party ox comes in and damages, so the owner of the ox is potter. So because Karen is potter in a yard which doesn't belong to either the mazik or the nizak, which is also not rishus harabim, obviously, because rishus harabim Karen is chayav. So the Or Yosher says that this argues in the Bavli, because the Bavli and Daf Yudal Rav says that you're chayav on Karen in the Chatzar Shein Shel Shneim. And our Mishnah says, according to the Yerushalmi, that you're part of the Chatzar Shein Shel Shneim. Okay? Straightforward? Says the Mishnah further, additional straightforward Mishnah. Hichnis peros l'chatzar Baal Bais. You brought in your fruit to the courtyard of the Baal Bais. Now you brought in fruit instead of drugs. Shalom b'shus. Our Mishnah. Chalton ba'im touch Baal Bais. The owner of the Baal Bais, his animal eats them. Potter, he's exempt. If he gets damaged by eating them, or in the course of eating them, Baal Peiros Chayv, then the owner of the fruit is liable to pay the owner of the animal. You put in the fruit with permission, of course, Chayiv, then he's liable for all detriments caused thereby. If you put your fruit into the chatzar of Baal Bais without permission, and a third party ox comes, and eats them, potter, it's exempt. On the other hand, if it gets damaged by them, it's also potter. The Amra teaches us that a chatzar, but the shorim Bava Kamma comes to eat them is potter. Shein is potter. The tooth is potter in a yard which doesn't belong to either one of them. And it would seem that the same is true about regal as well. Although it's not addressed explicitly, it would seem that the same is true about regal. That a regal b'chatzar shein shel shneim is potter. Well, it's only chayiv. The chatzar belongs to one of them, but not a chatzar belongs to neither of them. Or unless there's rishus or something of that sort, some mitigating factor. You put your ox in your Baal Bais's backyard, or any Baal Bais's backyard without permission. Nachu sharash Baal Bais, and the ox of the Baal Bais gores that ox. Or shenashlo kel kabosh Baal Bais, or his dog bites that ox. So potter is exempt because of the shalom b'shus. Nagachu l'shoro shabal Bais, if the visiting ox damaged the ox which belongs to Baal Bais, chayav, his master is liable. Nafal bar, if the visiting ox fell into a well, and made the water disgusting, so then chayav, you are liable for that. If the father or son was swimming and in came this cow and drowned them, so you pay ransom based on the inadvertent killing through your ox. If, however, he brought in his oxen with permission by chatzar, chayav, then he's liable for. I'm saying by chatzar chayav. I messed it up. If he brought his ox with permission, then the shor chatzar, then the Baal Bais is liable for having taken his chances, right? Because he put the guy brought Rishus, right? Rabbi Omer, in all cases, the Baal Bais is not liable until he accepts upon himself verbally that he's going to be a shomer for this object in question. Okay? He has to accept shmir on it. Just the fact that he gave permission for it to come in is insufficient. He has to accept shmir. He brought out to the Chotzer Baal Bais. There has to be a motion change that everybody agrees. Has to be birshus. You got permission to bring it in. You got permission to bring in your rocks. Ubo shor mokamach, and a third party comes and does one of the things that is tantamount to care into it. What does he do? He nogach, he gores, nogach pushes, noshach bites, robot scrouches, bot kicks. Mishay nezik sholim divrei meir. You pay nezik sholim to the damaged ox. Now this is doch muchrach. It's essentially to be gores like the B'shai Torah says that it's not Rabbi Meir but Rabbi Tarfon. Because who's the one who says Mishuna Keren B'chotzer Nizak Mishalim Nezek Sholim, that the full damage is in such a case? Who said in the first parak, trust me on this? It was Rabbi Tarfon. So it shouldn't be Rabbi Meir, it has to be Rabbi Tarfon. And of course, Chaim argue back to Rabbi Tarfon as well. That's the Ori. Actually, it's not my vort. It has to be Rabbi Tarfon. I think it's Shai Torah Seret Yitro. Yeah. The Chachamim ala shein v'al regel, on the tooth and on the leg. You're liable chayav on a gicha. On all those things which are linked to goring. A tam, even a chatzar nizak pays what? Even the damage eats koya. What is a tam? An option not forewarned call. Fay, half a nezek, not full nezek. So it's the same machlokas they have basically in the first paragraph. Okay? It says more further. It tells, by the way, did he use the word gore ever? No.
We actually did use gore. Take it back.
What is gore? Okay.
Yeah.
You know what the Yiddish word is? Not you. Do you know what the Yiddish word is? For goring. The Yeshivas, they never say gore. Close. Shtois, I believe it is. Yeah. Don't recall it at all? They use gore? Yeah, I think it's shtois. I think so. Yeah. It's been a long time since I'm Bava Kamma. I believe the Yiddish word is shtois. One ox shtoist another. I think that's it. Anyway, says the Gemara, you didn't speak Yiddish until? So it says the Gemara, Rabbi Yerushalmi, in your day that spoke Yiddish, then why you? Yeah, the Rav gave shiur in Yiddish until the late 50s. Yeah, not just the Rav, many of them. Dr. Lifshitz too. A lot of things shiur. For Yerucham Gorelick. No, he switched from Yiddish to Hebrew. Yeah. No, so he gave it Hebrew. Anyway, so says Rav's Yiddish are much better than English. His Yiddish was much better than his English. It's Mamalosh, and he was much more dramatic in Yiddish than English. It says more further. Rabbi Shmuel said, yeah, look, Rebbe, it looks like Rebbe, that you have to explicitly, it's not enough to give Rishus to come in. You have to be explicitly makabel shmira. You have to accept upon yourself the shmira.
Understood? If you're allowing an animal...
No, you're saying good. Just a minute. Be patient. Says the Gemara. Everybody agrees if you in your house. When I say come in, I mean I'm going to watch it, like you just said. On the other end, everybody is besodeh by a field. I say, yeah, you can bring it in, but you're responsible for it. Okay, so it's the opposite by a field. Okay?
But you have to verbally
no, it's as if you said it's understood, yeah.
So
it's like the you store it. Public storage. You want to find it, you can come use it, but it's your achrayus, it's not mine. Okay? So my plea, what's the machlokas? The chotzer. By a courtyard. Reme a chotzer kesada, and you'd have to accept the pine itself befeirush. The chomri chotzer kebayis. And it's assumed, excuse me. So I have a kasha. Tamtin learned over there, later in the parak, it's a case. Hamagdish besoich. Actually, it's in the sixth parak. If you put your piles of grain in your friend's field without permission, so there's no liability. But implications if you put it there with permission, so there is liability. And the shaila is, where's the rishus? Where's the kabbalah's shmira? Right? There's no kabbalah shmira. That sounds like even without kabbalah shmira, you're automatically liable. And Tzibakash Rabbanon, because there's a Sadeh. In a Chotzer, Rabbanon are arguing Rebbe. But in a Sadeh, they agree with Rebbe. You need Kabbalah Shmira. Where's the Kabbalah Shmira over there? Says Gemara, it's a little bit missing here. It should be, the Gemara over there says, in Escoria, my script says, should say, Rabbi Yitzchak, Gedishim B'Sadeh, the piles of grain in field, Asu Osan, they made them Kikelim B'Bais. In other words, everything vis-a-vis the substance which is primary therein has the status of Kalim in the house. The Kalim in the house, once he says bring them in, it's as if he accepts Shmir upon them. So to Kedishim in the field, since that's their natural habitat, once he says you can put them in, so they need some Makabel Shmir on them. Okay? You like that? Not bad. Acceptable? So it says Marav, continuing this vein, Amrei Yisrael Rabun, Tipatim Reidi, so the Mazga, it's only if it's got a lock. So the side that has a lock, so then it makes sense. Then when you say put it in, right, that's more like a chotzer, and then even more like a bais. So everybody agree that it's that in that case, if you say put it in, you by the diva assumption you accept shmira. Okay, good. Halacha, turn the page. Shoshem is gam l'chaber. So shifting gears a little bit. And ox, we actually had this in the last paragraph. Shoshem is gam l'chaber. An ox was out to gore its friend to get death. He got the issue yet instead it hit a woman who was standing nearby. V'yatzo then she miscarried. Potter, the owner of the ox's example. He said in the previous paragraph, it's anoshim, not sure. Potter minei laws. He doesn't have to pay for the restitution for the miscarriage. Other shemiskat the person wanted to hit his friend, put him to death, because he said he hit a woman. V'yatzo and her children came out. Mishalim made blodos, he has to pay for the fetuses. Ketzim Mishalim made blodos, how do you pay the made blodos? Shamisish Kmasha Kama Isa Yapat Shalo Yolda. We'll go on how much she was worth before she gave birth. V'kama Yafa Mishi Yolda. Tanakama assumes that a woman is worth more when she's pregnant, because the potential to produce more avodim. So if she's sold as a slave then, so she'll be worth more. So that's why the difference between that and this is considered to be the difference in the maid blodos, because she was worth more with the blodos and less without them. If that's the way you want to look at it, it makes no sense, because women are worth more once they give birth, because birth is very hazardous. So a woman who's got to give birth in the slave markets she's not worth anything, because who knows, she might die tomorrow when she's giving birth, right? But a woman after she gives birth is worth much more, because then she actually, she proved her mettle, and also she no longer not expecting the moment.
She can go back to work.
She can go back to work, right? So, right. So that can't work, says Rav Shimon Gamliel. We look at the kids themselves, how much it would have been worth for to sell. That's what you give to the husband. Im ein lo, it says im ein lo, but it should be im ein lo bal. If she doesn't have a husband, we give to the heirs of the husband. What if she's a maidservant who was just released, and the father is still an ebed? Or so she's a gyoris, and the father is still a goy? So then, guess what? Do you think the woman gets the miscarriage money? Of course not. This is Judaism, right? So then, Patur, the guy who damaged, is exempt. He's exempt from the miscarriage money. Okay? Says more further. Kash is like this. It sounds like the only reason why the ox is exempt from pay is because the ox had in mind to kill its buddy, its fellow ox. It sounds like if it had in mind to kill the woman, it's liable. And that's not true, regardless of who the ox had in mind. What ox, what he had in mind, his mind is not insignificant. So how do you write, what does this Mishnah mean? So it sounds like no matter what, it should be the ox's owner is Potter. Says Marvelo Shani. There's no difference. Ben Shu Miskabin Lakos Sisha, Ben Miskabin Lakos Chaver, makes no difference. Lamatina also, why did it say had in mind to kill its fellow ox as opposed to killing the woman? Amar Barachana begin Masnisin. Hoda Basua. Because in the Mishnah, subsequently, where it says, Adam Sher Miskabin Lakavero, the guy, the man who was sitting on a mountain to his friend because he should be there, and it said he had a woman and her children came out Mishanim Mevlodos. That case he pays Mevlodos. Because the halacha is, if the guy had in mind to hit the woman and kill her, it's Kim L'Rabim B'nei. He's exempt from paying for the Vlodos. So if the guy has in mind to hit somebody else and he didn't hit that person, said he hit the woman, and there's no Kim L'Rabim B'nei, so in that case, we say that he has to pay Mevlodos. Tani! Somebody says, long lines are somebody says his friend, Shivcha Valdani Sani I want to sell you a pregnant Shivcha, but now much her kids make her worth more. Kutizmi Huzu. Lima translates Kutizmi as a gambler. He says, if you pay more for this woman, you are a gambler, because what could happen to her very easily? Lose everything, right? She'll die during childbirth. No, it's Greek. The Pnei Moshe gives a different shot here based on Aramaic, but Lieberman claims it's Greek. It's Greek to me. Says more further. See if it says, Kinotza Anoshin. If two men fight for Nokbu Isharan, they smite a pregnant woman, thank you. The Yotzer, then the children come out. Aviyasi ben Chanan says, Nokbu Isha, sorry. It says, when her children come out. Any of their shiur, don't I know she's pregnant? Right? Obviously, if kids come out, she was pregnant, right? Matam lo mahara. Why it say hara? Malami, now the Yerushalmi is going to give two droshes in hara, which the Bavli doesn't have. The Bavli has different droshes. So it teaches, Magichem is chayv achiakim mokom upara. He's only liable if he hits her where she's pregnant, meaning in the stomach. If he hits her on the palm of her hand, or kaf ragla, or the bottom of her foot, putter is exempt because it's an onus. He had no idea that that's actually going to bring about any miscarriage. It was certainly not normal. Kasher Yoshi's olav bala isha, like the husband of the woman, like the husband places upon him. Now, of course, it doesn't literally go by what the demand, the payment the husband demands, but because our basin imposes, but it goes based on the husband suing the guy, right? So Shamani Alpi Shenel Leon Shalom. So it sounds like her husband, even though he's not the father, he's not the biological father, the kid might be a mamzer, right? In which case, who should get the payment? No, never her. No payment to women, please. No, her lover, the one who, the by a father, right? So it says the Mar. So how do I know that? Only pay to the guy who impregnated her, not to her husband if her husband is not the one who impregnated her. Okay. Now, again, this drasha is not in the Bavli, it's on the Yerushalmi. The Bavli is different drasha. The Bavli tries to reconcile the drasha, the Bavli. Bavli dashes the Shvach, the Yolah, Shvach Herayon. You pay the woman for what she's worth more. Whatever it is, it's not the same drasha. Anyway, Ravuka asks, what about if a guy, Baal Imo, guy in relations with his own mother, and now she's pregnant, right? Or Ubalachos on his own sister. Afu Balayarnu, is he also, the impregnator, and therefore does he get paid as well? So it says more, you don't like that? Tamulomar Baal. No, it says husband. Esheroyli Kara his spouse, be something suitably a husband. Now he doesn't have to be actually the husband, like Kolaroy Bila and Bila Makerespo. You have to actually be the husband, and he might even be an adulterer. But if he could be a husband, then that's enough to give him the money. Okay?
So here it's Kolaroy Labia.
Kolaroy Labia, right? Labia. Yatzayel Shader when you listen about spouse, post those who can't become Bali. Okay? Rabbi Yasser Rabbi Yosef said, "Uborim en yotzim b'shem bayin." If you stood, the correct assumption is if you go into the womb and knock out the kid's eye or tooth of an eved, the eved doesn't go free. Good, you like that?
If you don't have to go inside the womb to do to the baby, to the end. That's what I'm saying. Why do you have to go so far?
What else would it be?
First of all, they don't have teeth.
That's what it's kasha. Says Gemara, Nicha. Now, all that claim changes here. So, Mech, the Lieberman, Shaitar, so it's all in Ephraim, I think, too. There's no difference, different thing here. So it says, Nicha ba'ayin. He's got an eye. M'shein. Where's he got a tooth? He don't got no teeth, right? Now, I can't believe that we're actually asked this question. I'm stunned by it, right? Because Lamaisa, Shemayin Slapdafka means any one of the Avorim of the fetus, right? Oh, it's his a finger, a toe. Also, same idea, Shem V'ayin. No, it's any of the Avorim which don't regenerate. Any which doesn't regenerate after it gets chopped off. So I said, but the more it takes the kasha seriously. I know, the more answers what you wanted to say before, but didn't get it out, right? I'm right. This is the way the Mishnah means. The old Uber is Yerachimo, so the Chorich should go out with the mothers having the eye or tooth knocked out, right? So kasha, so I answer him like this. So I made it up, but I think it's good. I didn't tell him that I made it up, but I think it's good. That in terms of Uber Yerachimo is Allah and Yerodea. Like when you toivel, the mother toivels, even for Geras, the kid is toivel as well. It's like Bitul Barov, which Allah specifically in Yerodea. But it works, Bitul Barov versus there. But Chosh Mishma, Bitul Barov doesn't work. If I mix a little bit of your money in mostly my money, your money is not Bitul Barov. There's no such halacha, right? Chosh Mishma, Allah's ownership is not canceled by Bitul Barov. Similarly, Uber Yerach Imo has nothing to do with Chesed Mishpat. So therefore, if the ownership is an issue, which it is here, of course, the whole concept of release is the flip side of ownership. So ownership is not transferred together with the mother. That's the Uber Yerachimo means, Falach Sivir have to do with Chatzitza and Kabbalah, things like that. There we say the Uber is part of the mother. What has to do with Halach so Chesed Mishpat, there the Uber is distinct from the mother. Again, so similar, I bring an analogy to Bitul Barov, where you say Bitul Barov for Yerodea, but don't say Bitul Barov for Chesed Mishpat. Okay, that's what I answered him. Okay, Alach Abav. Ha'chover bar Rishus Rabim. Somebody digs a pit in Rishus Rabim. V'nova Sorcha Shor Chamor, an ox or a donkey falls down there, umeis and it dies. Chayev, you're liable. Echol Chover bar, it doesn't matter if it's a pit. The siach, a trench, umara, a cave, charitzim, a square cutout, uniitzim, some sort of another type of regular shape. It's narrow on top and wide on the bottom. He came loma nemar bor. Why say bor? Why not all these other structures? Elamah bor shukadei lohami sanasor tvachim. A boar kills when it's 10 tefachim deep. I've called over shukadei lohami sanasor tvachim. So to anything which is 10 tefachim deep, it can kill. If the well or hole is less than 10 tefachim deep, O chamor, and an ox or a donkey falls in a mason and it dies, potter, you're exempt because your bore did not do that death. Because your bore is not deep enough, it wasn't that deep to create that death. If, however, the animal was damaged in a bore, which is less than fucking deep, so this is something we're going to discuss later on in the parak and Masechta, I hope in greater detail. So then, damages can be wrought by a bore which is lower than 3 tefachim, no matter how low, whatever the shiur is.
You say there's a grubber that he gets damaged and from that eventually dies?
No, you'd be both on that. No, you wouldn't be live on that. Open into Rishus Rabbin. So open Rishus Rabbin. Or he dug a pit in Rishus Rabbin. Open into Rishus Yachid. Or Rishus Yachid, the Paschal Rishus Yaracher. He dug Rishus Yachid open to another Rishus Yachid. Chayim, in most cases, liable to open up the bore in a place where it's going to cause problems. So it says, it says a person is poseach, opens bore, or if a person is kored, digs a bore. So it's Tanakam, whoever the first Amora says, he wants to say, echo bar zakin, becho bar lemisa. There are two separate psukim, they put two separate issues. One is the bore in terms of nezek, which is less than fucking deep, and the other is the bore in terms of death, which is 10 or more fucking deep. Rabbi said, Rabbi is more in line with the Bavli. No, Echo Bar Shemisa Echo Bar Shenizak Shtemi Mirka Echo Nisrabu. They're both on the same pasuk. Have them on the same pasuk, not material for us to now, but you don't need both pasukim, right? Ukshubal Bar Shemisa. However, this continuation of a statement. When you come to a Bar Shemisa, at Amar Patel came to say in that bar, if Kalim fall in their potter, and that's talking about on Kalim, and that's saying that when it's that deep, then you're chayiv. So in any event, so the two psukim are both going on both boros. One is going on a bor which you're chayiv in Kalim, and the other is going on a bor which you are potter from Kalim. Okay, big deal. Says more only el b'shel chafar. I only know if you dug a pit. Lokach, if you bought a pit. Yorash inherited a pit. Yitan lo matana, a pit was given you as a gift. I don't know you're chayiv shemar. It says ki yichra ishbor. Oh, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. Sorry. All of that statement was not the explanation of why it says ki yichra and ki yiftach. Bad move on my part. Rabbi Yitzchak finally gets around to explain why he both when he says Ein Yel B'Shel Chafar. Ein B'Shel Chafar because Ki Yiftach means to dig. Ki Yichre can also mean to buy. We have this in the week's parsha, don't we? Hasadeh. Yeah, don't we have Marasonach Bela? No, it's later on. No, Yaakov says it about Marasonach Bela. Parshas Vayechi. He says to Yosef, see, I didn't go to the Chidon Tanakh for nothing. It says in Parshas Vayechi, no, it doesn't say here. Yeah, it's a lost to a crow. Oh, low blow.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. Somebody says Asher Karisi Li. That's what Yaakov says. Kivri asher karisi li. Yeah, I found it. First of all, it said, he says here, Yosef said to Paro, "Vish barely more nanochi meis b'kivri, and nanochi meis b'kivri asher karisi li be'eretz Canaan, shamatik bereni." So karisi means I bought. Okay, so here too, ki yichra ish bor. That's what Rabbi Yitzchak is saying. Ki yichra can mean also buy. So it's not just a bore you dug, but a bore you bought as well. You're liable on. So as they say, it's all one bore. You don't. There aren't two bores, one for death and one for nezakin. They can be learned mixed and matched. But it says ki yichra ishbar, that's going on a bore which you buy. Ki yiftach is the bore you dug. Ki yichra is the bore that you buy. Okay. Says more. I got a problem here. Says more. Shari Torah changes the gear, so but it's not necessary. It says in the Mishnah, he opened his born Rishus Harabim, right? He dug his born Rishus Yachin and opened the Rishus Harabim. How do you have permission to do that? What kind of a Russia is this guy? You know what? If you know, a male guy digs born Rishus Harabim, you know, it could be he's coming to fix it, and he leaves it open inadvertently. But how can a guy dig in Rishus Yachin and open to Rishus Harabim? So Gemara says a very fundamental principle, and I don't know if this is in the Bavli. So it says Gemara, it says here in the side Bava Kamma, maybe it is. But Rabbi Yisrael Bun, Tipatik Rabbi Yisrael, it's like Rabbi Yisrael who says to Omar, Shloisha, it should be Tfachim. Shein Smuchim Rishus Kirishus. There's an easement which Rishus Harabim has on your property of 3 Tfachim. Within the 3 Tfachim adjacent to Rishus Harabim, you can't dig, because there's an easement on that. It's like, you know, the area between the area where your sidewalk is. You can't want to see your problem. So even though you're digging with Shus HaYachid, it's considered to be as if you're digging with Shus HaRabim, and therefore you're liable for that. So it's not really that you're literally digging in Shus HaRabim, opening in Shus HaRabim, but you're opening Shus HaYachid, but that's just as bad.
Sounds like love.
What? Yeah, it sounds like Loveland. But, it's not exactly the same thing, but, it says Smuchim Rishus Harabim. It says similar idea. Not allowed to do things Samach to Rishus Harabim. So it's a similar idea, not quite the same thing like John. It doesn't say the same. So he's not supposed to do things Samach to Rishus Harabim, like build walls, which will lead to damage to Rishus Harabim. It's a similar idea, but here it's much more explicit. Now it says the Gemara, now this is one of these Gemaras which nobody understood until Beckhofer came along. Everybody tries to change the Girsa here, tries to give a P'tach Pshat. Mamish, nobody understands this Gemara until I came along. So the Gemara is like this. Now I have to tell you this. Everybody holds that if you make a bore, it's not necessarily a bore, right? It's also an elevation, right? Some people want to say that this an obstacle. Some people want to say this is a Gemara's source. It should be Gova Keomek. That's how they want to change. In other words, what's the status if you make an elevated area in Shus Harabim? But the Scoria manuscript has exactly like this. Leon wants to change it. A couple other people want to change it. I'll make big Gova, which is difficult also. But I'll tell you the Pashut Pshat is like this. This is the Pashut Pshat. I drew a picture of my Gemara, but I don't think I can show it to you like this. I'll just show it to you like this. The average Shus Harabim is on an incline. It's going up. It's like a ramp. And there's a bore, and you dig a bore in that ramp. Now the halacha is, we're going to see in the next mission, interesting halacha. On a regular bore, a big bore in Shus Harabim, if an adult shore falls into it, you're potter. Because you should have known better. You should have seen it. You only chayav on a shore, cheresh shoyt of a cotton. And here the ox is the cheresh shoyt of a cotton. Because they had no way of knowing. They're not, either they don't know or they're too stupid to figure out that there's a boar in front of them. Not all oxen, vice versa, are stupid. Okay? But the shayla is like this. You build it into the side of a hill, into a ramp. Omek is begova. The omek is in the depth. Is in the heights, right? So you have here a board which goes in like this on the ramp of Rishus Harabim. That's the question. This is what we're talking about. If it's coming up, Chamile, he sees it. And it's like any other board in Rishus Harabim that you're potter, unless there's the ox is a cheresh shoyt of the cotton, right? So it's more elabahu dasi mean rad. So about an ox which is coming downhill. So ox which is coming downhill, it doesn't normally see that boar in front of it. So that's a shayla. Do we say it's like a boar on a flat area where you're potter because the ox should have seen it, and here too the ox should have been aware of it? Or do I say, especially if it's going downhill, to be more cautious? Or do I say, no, this boar, it's much harder to discern. And even in a regular ox, not just a boar, a shor cheresh the cotton, you're liable if it falls into this boar. Okay? Sounds good, right? I think it's true.
Camouflage.
Right, it's camouflage, but it's camouflage specifically because it's going on an incline. Okay, let's just get on the base. Boar shnei shutfim, and a boar belongs to two partners. And the first partner passes by Loki so he's a Russia. He should have covered it. Nevertheless, Hashem Loki so the second guy then passes and doesn't cover it. Hasheni chayev. The negligence transfers to the second guy because he passed by and didn't cover it. Right? It's true the first guy was also negligent, but the second guy's negligence cancels out the first guy's negligence. Vice versa, he saw Rishon. The first guy covered it. And the second guy came and uncovered it. He left the manhole cover off, right? Hashem chayev, again the second guy is chayev. Kisarish, the first guy covered it. The second guy came, found it open, but he doesn't know why, right? It could be obviously the first guy covered it. He thought he counted on that. Nevertheless, now he found it open. V'lo so Hashem chayev, he's liable. What, however, if you saw karoi, you covered the board properly. Nevertheless, an ox or a donkey fell in, umace and died, potter, you are exempt. So, honest. Loki sarukara, if you didn't cover it properly, and an ox or a donkey fell in, umace and died chayev, then you're liable. If an animal fell forwards because somebody was digging and fell into your boar, you're liable chayev. If the animal you were digging, the animal fell backwards, potter, because animals are not supposed to fall backwards. If it fell backwards, it's its problem, right? If an ox with its load fell in and the kalim broke, if a donkey fell in with its load and miskar, it's usually a saddle and grips, you're liable for the animal. You're exempt from the kalim, as we say, shor v'lo adam chamor v'lo kalim. You're not chayav and kalim in a board. Navel etocho, the one is going to discuss it. Navel etocho shor, if an ox falls in, cheresh shoyte v'koton, which is cheresh shoyte v'koton chayav. So it's to all the oxen we're talking about where you're liable to fall in the board. If it's a dumb ox, but if it's a smart ox, you're exempt, right? Ben obas eved o alma, if a human being, even a small one or a slave, falls into your board, you are potter, because they should have known better, like the ox, which is smarter. How do you have a board which belongs to two partners? Rabbi Yirmiyah said, they both put in the last brick together. You know? So therefore they become simultaneously owners of the board. They don't actually own it, so it's just a rabbit, but they become both liable for it.
Now, why is the second, in the case where the second guy didn't cover over his partner's board, why is the second guy completely covered? Why don't they share?
Because he had the opportunity to do the entire thing. If he had, he could have, there's no such thing as half. You know, he'd see the cover or not. Doesn't matter. They weren't there simultaneously, they're consecutively. So last guy to pass by is the guy who had the responsibility. Oh yes, the first guy shirked it, but the second guy shirking covered the same ground and superseded the first guy. Because the bore is either covered or not. There's no, each partner does 50%. Each guy has got to do 100%. So last guy not to do the 100%, he's the guy who's responsible in this case. Okay? We're going to get to that later on, I think. So he said, why don't you say that it was a 20 tefach deep pit, and one guy did 10, the other guy did 10. So it was a very well-balanced answer. There must be more to it than I understand. The blame of Shinik, because wanted to say to him, don't bother me. I didn't want to say so about a 20 tefach deep bore. That's not so prevalent. I want to say so about a 10 tefach deep bore, and I wanted to give you a scenario in which both of them become the co-owners of this bore. Yeah, just don't bug me.